Hey, it's Mike. Thanks for tuning back in. Today's Monday. Last night I did a really fun live stream. You should go back and check that out. It was a long one, it's a lot of fun. The guys who joined that, it's a great crowd. I really enjoy those guys. I accidentally didn't include the comments live when it pushed over to YouTube, which is a shame. Hopefully I'm wrong in this, but I don't know. It's frustrating that you can't go back and read the comments as I'm talking. But for the most part, I read the good comments anyway. So I'm going to get started here. If you're familiar with corrected errors, the late 80s and early 90s were a boom time for this type of thing. You've got the 1990 Topps No Name on Front Frank Thomas, which is the pinnacle of this type of card. It's the rare one that almost nobody can get. You've got the 89 Fleer Billy Ripken FF error, I say. You've got the Randy Johnson with the Marlboro sign in the background, the Dale Murphy 1989 Upper Deck reverse negative. There are a lot of them that ended up getting corrected and are really, really popular with error collectors. Now, I'm not an error collector, but I would like to have some of them, if that makes sense. But some of them don't mean anything to me. This one is just an interesting story. So card 702 in 1990 Upper Deck is, as you probably recall, triple threats, the rookie threats of the Expos in that day. You've got Larry Walker, Marquise Grissom, and Delino DeShields. Now, it talks on the back about how they were battling for the NL Rookie of the Year. None of them won the Rookie of the Year that year. It went to David Justice, who had an awesome career. I love David Justice. I had a ton of his cards in my childhood collection when I popped it back open again a couple of years ago. But Larry Walker and Grissom did tie for 7th in the Rookie of the Year voting that year. Delino DeShields came in 2nd. Of course, Walker was the only person in that Rookie of the Year class who got votes who went on to have a Hall of Fame career. So, interesting stuff, except number 702 was originally supposed to be Mike Witt. And so why is Mike Witt not in there? Well, nobody is 100% sure. The story isn't really out there, but there's some speculation, and there is actually still a card 702. So let's talk about what happened to that card, why it's considered a corrected error now. And remember, Mike Witt, who pitched I think a dozen years in the major leagues, is Bobby Witt Jr.'s uncle and the brother to Bobby Witt Sr. So a lot of this information comes to me from radicards.com. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And also from Junk Wax Gems. The story goes that the day of the Upper Deck photography for the cards, there was an attractive woman taking the photographs, and somehow, some way, Mike Witt's pants came unbuttoned or unzipped. And she took the photograph. The photograph was taken, and it ended up on the card. But Upper Deck realized it. It somehow got through all the way to the production phase. And Upper Deck realized what they had, and they printed a black box over the back photo of it to prevent that from being seen. And nobody knows if there was anything actually obscene on it or if it was just that the pants were unbuttoned. So I was hoping to find, perversely, the one without the black box, but there don't appear to be any. It was originally believed that there were only about 10 of them. 10, certainly fewer than 100. And they were selling for a lot of money for years. Like, they were going for $350 to $850 raw. A PSA 10 went for $1,700, or maybe it was $2,700. They were selling for a lot of money back until 2016, when somebody was in a flea market in California and bought a box of 1990 Upper Deck, and it was supposed to be a complete set, I think. And when that person opened it up, found 800 of the Mike Witt black box error card inside. So somebody had produced all of these, and they must have thought they were taking them out of production, and they put them all in a box, and then at some point somebody found that box and said, oh, I'll take this and I'll sell it somewhere, thinking it was a complete set. Or it could have been, some people have theorized that it was one of those famous Upper Deck exec print runs, which they did. If you read the book, I don't even remember the name of the book now. I read it recently, but it's all about Upper Deck and the rise of Upper Deck and the fall of Upper Deck. And in 1989, they took hot cards that were really, really popular, and they did extra print runs to give to, or to sell to, hobby shops that they favored and to give to executives. And so that's how there became such a glut of Ken Griffey Jr. cards and the Dale Murphy reverse negative cards. So some people have theorized that happened in 1990 because they didn't get in any trouble for this in 1989. It's really difficult to say how it could have happened, but somehow 800 of them ended up in a box, and that person who found them went off to sell them for, so I read that he sold 10 of them for about $100 each, and then he got some of them graded. One of them graded a PSA 10, and he was hoping to get it, sell it for a record price. Couldn't find a record of that card selling anywhere. So as I said, Radicards, I'm not sure, RADI cards, paid $347 for a raw copy in 2013. This was before the 800 cards were found. But then they also discovered that the checklist card number 800 also showed Mike Witt in some cases as card number 702. So he paid $356 for the checklist card, also in 2013, just a matter of a couple of months after finding the black box error. And the checklist card also has a black box over what appears to be the wrong side of it for some reason. And I couldn't find out why the black box is over the side that doesn't have Mike Witt listed. And incidentally, the 1990 Upper Deck set is just riddled with corrected errors. And so if you're an error collector, you can find the list. There are dozens and dozens of them. Little things too, like the Ben McDonald has like a star rookie logo in one, and then it doesn't in another. And then there's also a white, the team logo is whited out, but that's an unconfirmed error. Some people believe it might just be counterfeited. There's a lot of things in 1990 Upper Deck. It just had terrible quality control. So right now you can find this Mike Witt black box error on eBay. They're currently listed for anywhere from $80 to $850. That PSA 10 is the $850 one. A raw card of this sold for $59 in January. But as you can tell, that's 3 months ago. There's so few on the market that there hasn't been the one that's sold on eBay for over 90 days. Some PSA 10s were selling for between $250 and $300 in 2019. So even after that box of 800 was found, the PSA 10s are going for a pretty decent amount of money. Some conspiracy theorists are speculating that it was intentional, that Upper Deck knew how valuable error cards were, rare error cards, and so they did this intentionally. And what I say to that is why? Why would they choose Mike Witt? Mike Witt was a nice pitcher, pitched for a while, but he was never a star. He was never great. It would make more sense for them to do like, I don't know, Frank Thomas, or Ken Griffey Jr., for instance, would be a great one. So, I don't know, it just doesn't make any sense to me that they would choose Mike Witt to black out the back of his card. Let me know what you think. Were you aware of this? Do you think that this was some sort of conspiracy theory, or a conspiracy, or was it intentional? Have you seen this card before? Do you own one? I have about 100 of these. Larry Walker rookie. This is one of his rookies, of course. He also has the regular 1990 Upper Deck and many, many, many other 1990 cards, because that was the peak of the junk wax era. And I have all of them. And I actually sent off, I think, 4 cards to him last year, October, maybe. Maybe I sent him 2 in, maybe it was August, and haven't heard back. So I think my nickel cards to Larry Walker are gone, and I'll have to hope to send off some others at some point, because I have so many of them. All right, let me know what you think in comments. I really appreciate it. Hope you guys have a great week.